So, you have a brilliant idea for your startup, or maybe you want to create a side project to earn some extra income alongside your full-time job. But here's the dilemma every founder will face. Do you spend your time building out the core features of your product, or should you market it first to make sure there is demand for what you are building? And for every moment you spend debating this, someone else is using that time to get ahead. If you dive headfirst into building, you risk finding out there is zero demand for your product. But if you start with marketing, you are essentially making a promise for a product that does not exist. So, let's break down the smartest and most logical ways to approach both building and marketing as a solo startup founder. I'll also walk you through how I grew my startup to over 10,000 users and has generated over $50,000 in revenue in just a few months. And by the end of this video, you'll have a clear answer. Should you focus on building your startup first, or is that time better spent marketing and validating your idea? In my opinion, there are only a few cases where focusing on building first actually makes sense, and they are rare. Number 1. If your product is truly unique and it has no competitors, then getting it out first can establish yourself as the go-to solution. From there, you can set the standard and capture a dedicated user base of early adopters. And number 2 is when you can see clear demand where users are practically begging for a solution, whether this be through online forums, social media, or in-person conversations. In this case, you need to ship an MVP to satisfy this demand as soon as possible. Getting early feedback here is essential, as it lets you iterate and shape your product into something that the users cannot live without. For my own startup, I actually focused on building first, and looking back, I would say it was the right choice. There were no existing tools that could do what mine did, and I could see clear demand on the OpenAI forums and subreddits. I focused on shipping something right away, and from there I gained a user base who were eager to give me feedback to improve the product. And this was all because they used my tool in the daily workflows and I solved a real problem for them. So, when you find that rare moment, no competition, clear demand, that's when building first makes all the difference. But in most cases, you're better off using the time in the early stages to validate your product. It doesn't matter how game-changing you think your startup will be, your startup lives in the real world where you need real users, paying customers, and constant feedback to succeed. Here are some simple action steps you can take. These days, creating a landing page that showcases your concept is surprisingly easy. It's your first tool for getting feedback, gauging interest, and more importantly, seeing if your target audience even exists. I personally built my landing page with Magic UI, as I really like the design patterns and the animations that come with their components. If you're not a technical person, tools like Framer and Webflow are also great. They offer good templates that let you drag and drop elements to create landing pages without having to write any code. Once you have your landing page, it's just a matter of getting it in front of as many people as possible. Reach out to communities, forums, social media groups to find your target audience. Even if it's just 10 people giving you feedback on your product, that's still more valuable than 10 weeks of building without any insight. One of the hardest parts of being a solo founder is juggling between two very different mindsets: building and marketing. Each takes a different kind of focus, and one thing I've learned is that context switching is your biggest enemy. When you constantly switch from coding to promoting, it's like trying to sprint and meditate at the same time. My tip for this would be to block out your days to do specific tasks. I block out certain days just for a few things: building features, fixing bugs, or making improvements. Those days I'm in build mode, and on other days it's full-on marketing mode, whether that be creating content, reaching out to customers and clients, or analyzing feedback from users. The goal is to minimize the constant back and forth so that I can go deep on one thing at a time. As a solo founder, sometimes you need to embrace the boring work. A trap I see a lot of people fall into is trying to do the smart work before doing the hard work. But here's the truth: sometimes the smart work is the hard work. For example, it's not glamorous to spend hours coding tiny fixes for your app or promoting your product on different platforms just to get zero feedback. Those small wins all matter though. It is building the foundation and trust for your product. If you want more videos on tips and advice for running a solo startup, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.